Welcome to LifeChangers, a program designed to give solutions to the problems of daily living. My name is Dr. Kondur Abraham, and today we will be talking about how to facilitate change in your partner. Meena prays daily for her husband. She bargains with God every day to change him. She doesn't like his drinking habit, and she also doesn't like his rude and arrogant behavior at home. Meena has asked him to change, but nothing has happened. She reminds him constantly, nagging and complaining, but he has only become stubborn and cold. Helplessly, she has resorted to pleading with God. She prays, "Oh God, change my husband, and I will do anything for you." It seems God is not in any rush to change him either. Meena is despondent. Have you ever prayed like this for someone close to you? Can I clear my throat? Have you ever? Have you ever prayed like this for someone close to you? There are many wives who pray constantly that their husbands be changed, and there are husbands who ask God to change their wives. But let me tell you, there are some things that you can do to change your spouse, or for that matter, anyone close to you, including your child, your brother, sister, or neighbor. The first thing you should do is sign up to become a facilitator of change. You are the person who wants to see change happen in the other person's life. So choose to become a facilitator. It is a new role, a new position of challenge and responsibility. There are some do's and don'ts you have to follow as a facilitator. Let us first look at the don'ts. Number one, as a facilitator, you don't dictate. You don't tell the other person what to do and how to behave. Number two, as a facilitator, you don't nag or complain. Nagging and complaining does not facilitate the situation. Number three, as a facilitator, you should not be partial. You should not get too upset when the other person behaves badly. You shouldn't build up your hopes too high that you will be disappointed when the other person does not match up to your expectation. Now the do's. First, you should facilitate unconditional positive regard for the other person. In other words, you should be accepting and loving regardless of the other person's behavior or mean attitude towards you. If you are a wife, be nice to your husband. Go ahead, cook for him, serve him, wash his clothes. Do those things and maybe a little extra so that you can let him know that you really love him. If you are a husband, be more loving and be more caring. Again, do something extra so that she knows you love her. Unconditional positive regard means accepting the other person without conditions. The second thing to do is to make your home conducive for change. Think of things that your spouse likes and do them for him or her. Start with things that you hesitate to do. How about picking up his or her dirty clothes, turning on the music she likes, or buying something for him to be even more comfortable? For example, if it is your husband that you are dealing with, when your husband is at work, he should think, "She really loves me. She didn't have to do all these things, but she did them." Number three, never complain, but only compliment. Surround the individual with words of praise and encouragement. Appreciate him or her for every small change that you see. Number four, be a good listener. Perhaps you will do more listening than talking. That is how it works, and that's how you facilitate change. Listen to his or her stories. Maybe it is boring and redundant to you, but it is his or her story. It is a story that made him or her behave the way he or she does. So listen to all the details of it and give strong impressions that you are listening. And finally, maintain duty-bound devotion to God and expect change. God works in a triangle. As much as we expect him to work for us, he expects us to carry out our duties toward the other individual. Think of all these do's and don'ts in your effort to facilitate change in another individual in your life. You'll be surprised how soon you can change the other person. What's your name?
Kelly.
Kelly, are you married?
I am married.
Are you happily married?
I am very happily married.
How do you solve your problems? Tell me.
Well, you know, in any relationship you have conflicts, and so the most important part is communication. And my husband and I have a very good communication together. You know, usually if we come across something, you know, we give ourselves a few minutes to think about it, and then we'll sit down together and talk it out. So that's what works for us.
And it works?
Works so far so good.
Do you ever fight?
Of course, you know, we have arguments. I don't know if I would call them fights, but we have disagreements. So, you know, just talking them out is what really works.
But you still have a happy family life?
Yes, very much
Wonderful.
so.
How many kids do you have?
I don't have any
you don't
children
have any
yet.
kids?
No,
okay.
Not yet.
Good. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
Sabrina, what problems do you usually have in marriage? Also, what comes up sometimes?
Maybe the financial problems. Maybe the person have different goals on how to spend money,
okay.
Or you have things that you want to do. Maybe the other person feel like it shouldn't be done, or it can be done at a later date.
So how do you resolve those issues?
I guess through communication and I guess pros and cons, and trying to decide what is best, and also compromise. You have to compromise with the person and try to meet them in a halfway and see what works out the best way.
Good. You know, I like your style.
Oh, thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
What's your name?
My name is Rong Ma.
Rong, you're from China.
Yes, the south of China.
From the southern part of China.
Yeah.
So that's close to me. I'm from India.
Oh, that's great.
Are you married, Rong?
No,
You're looking for somebody?
I think so.
Where will you find somebody?
You mean the somebody I can find?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I think the first, like, he must be good heart,
Uh-huh.
good nature, good
Okay.
nature,
Okay.
and he must be like treat my parents good.
He has to treat your parents good.
Yeah.
How about treating you?
But in Chinese, the family value is much
I
important
see.
than your personal.
So it's more important.
Yeah.
You know, treating your parent is more important.
Yeah, because my parent is satisfied and I'm happy.
Let me ask you this: how do people get married in China?
Yeah, like sometimes that they are classmates or they work together and they know each other. Then with time,
Yeah.
and they like being together, and
Yeah.
some like the parents or friends introduce someone
Okay.
to them, and the parents really like someone and they get married.
Okay. And your religion is Buddhism?
Buddhism, yeah.
Okay. So do you people go to the Buddhist temple to get married?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
sometimes. And
Sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes, but now not much. They
Okay.
always go to the hotel or something.
Or in a hotel?
Yeah.
Is there a ceremony?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And invite your friends and your relatives to
Okay.
celebrate.
Okay. So what are you looking for in your future husband? What kind of qualities?
I think it should be a Chinese.
He has to be
Yeah.
he has to be Chinese.
Yeah, it should be Chinese.
So you won't find too many here in this university.
Not really.
I wish you all the best. Nice meeting you.
Okay, thank you so much.
What's your name, please?
Jessica Perez.
Jessica. Jessica, are you married?
Yes, I am.
Are you happily married?
Yes.
Do you people ever have any problems?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
What kind of problems?
Laundry problems.
Laundry problems. Like what? He doesn't want to do laundry, or?
No, I don't want to do laundry.
Oh, you don't want to do it?
That's the problem.
Let me ask you this. If you have to change your partner, what will you do?
If I have to change him?
Change him, like some things about him, if you want to change.
Maybe he can watch less television.
He can watch less television.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only thing that really
But then,
bothers me.
if that's what you want to change, how are you going to approach it?
Turn off the television.
Turn off the. What's your name, please?
Leanne,
Leanne, where are you from?
from Colombia.
You're from Colombia. Colombia is in South America.
Yes.
Okay. Are you married?
Yes.
Are you happily married?
Yes.
Do you ever have any problems?
Oh, of course.
Of course. Okay, what kind of problems?
Dividing the responsibilities.
Like what?
like who's going to pick up my daughter, who
Oh, you have a daughter?
Yes.
How old is your daughter?
She's 5.
My goodness, you look so young. Okay, and so how do you solve that problem?
Divvying up the responsibilities. Like if I have to come to school, then he'll make it a point to pick her up.
Okay.
If he's going to work late, then I'll make it a point to make arrangements to pick her up.
Okay,
Or have
good.
someone else, like my mom, pick her up.
Sounding good. Sounding good.
And also the responsibilities at home, like who's
Okay.
going to clean the house and who's going to take her, like on Saturdays to ballet. I'm in school, and
Oh, wow. You people seem to be busy.
yes, very busy.
Do you ever feel like you have to change some aspect of his behavior?
Sometimes
What do you do about it?
just talk about it.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes struggle
Okay.
because
What kind of struggle?
sometimes men are set in their ways, and
Okay.
he thinks that because I get out of work at 3,
Uh-huh.
that I should be able to do everything at home before he gets home, and that when he gets home everything should be done, and that's not necessarily true.
Mhm.
And I should be still be able to do everything else after I'm dead tired at 9 o'clock
Oh.
at night.
So how long have you been married now?
6 years.
6 years. So how is marital life different from your previous life?
Oh, a lot more responsibilities.
You like it this way?
Of course, I mean, it's different, but sometimes when there's so many things going on, you kind of wish like, oh, I should have like finished school before I got married
Oh,
and
okay.
waited to have children, but
Okay. Yeah.
You
But you're
can't.
doing good, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
See,
Wish you all the best.
thank you.
Say hello to your husband.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to present to you again Dave, Juliana, Mark, and Shani. Yeah, we were talking about their marriage, how they met, and how they have really impressed each other. Now, I have something that I want to read to them, and then I will ask them a question. This is from my book, Passion for Relationships and Compassion for Self. Marriage is not a dream. It has been said that after a couple are married, they discover themselves to be in a problem-solving reality. Marriage will not only bring out the best in you and your spouse, but it can also bring out the worst in both of you. I'm going to ask you a direct question. The question is this: if you have noticed something in your partner that you wanted to change, from your cultural perspective, how would you go about with it? Who would like to go first? Juliana?
I can honestly say that there are a few things about David that I'd like to see change. Really, I can honestly say that. One thing that's really bizarre is that when we were dating, I remember particularly like one of the first dates, he was supposed to come by like at 8 o'clock, I think, or 9. And I am used to like going out with Latin men that tell you 8 but show up 8:45, 9, 9:15. So I was just getting in the shower like at 7:45 when the doorbell rings and it's him, and I was like, oh my goodness. So he was super early, like he was beyond punctual. And now being married, it seems like each time he's always late. We share a car, so he has to come and get me at work, and we drive to work together and all this, and it just really bothers me. So I've told him already, like, I don't like this. So I think like what I try to do, which is not a common thing in my culture. In my culture, you get angry and you either scream or you give them the silence treatment or you do something. I tend to go for the silence treatment, but I've tried to be more vocal about it and actually tell him, like, this bothers me, please change it. Let me know, give me a call. So he's become better. He calls me at least and lets me know that he's late, so it's good. At least I'm prepared, and I'll stay up in the office more or whatnot. That's basically like the only thing. And many times he's still quite reserved, and I feel like he's upset or something's wrong, and so I'm like, why aren't you talking? And he's like, I don't want to talk. So I'm like, but we need to talk. And that's a sign that things are good, because my parents are blah, blah, blah. But half the time they're gossiping about other people or saying horrible things. So he won't say anything bad about anyone. And that's something I really admire, because I tend to, just I guess from the way I grew up, I just tend to like gossip and like say bad things about other people, like almost spreading rumors. And I've had to really learn how to stop that, and that's not what I should be doing at all. So that's one thing I really learned from him, and I feel like I'm changing in that sense. And maybe that's why we don't talk so much. Like, he holds back those thoughts, and just that's one thing I've learned.
How about you, Dave? Thanks for sharing, Julian.
I think one thing I've learned definitely in marriage is that you become into this place of intimacy and vulnerability. And when you know the other person, or you know the other person to such an extent, that if you're not sensitive and loving and caring to them, you can have the complete opposite effect. And whether you mean to or not,
Right.
It's about being aware of the other person, and not only aware of your own needs or desires, or how your own sphere of influence is affecting your marriage, but how you together work that out. And it's a very tricky thing. It's not easy. And I think because you can be your own worst nightmare. You can just push the wrong buttons at the wrong point. And we're all capable of doing that. But it's how to. And I think I'm not sure I would want to change anything in Juliana.
Okay.
Because it's
She's perfect.
Well, she's wonderful. I mean, we all have our ups and downs.
Right.
And I think the grace of God, and I think the grace of God of being a Christian, and I think one thing which Shine said, when you bring so much to prayer, to the Lord in prayer, and petition to Him, give things to Him, then it's not a matter of looking outside and saying, you really make me angry because you do this and you do that, and you can chip away at someone by nagging them. But the Lord works on the inside. So little by little you see a change. It's like Julianne was saying, I mean, maybe I'm not late all the time now, and sometimes I call. And there's a gradual change in the process.
Right.
But I can tell you it's not from her saying, oh, you da-da-da-da-da, all this all the time. There's something deeper working in within.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. I think love sort of takes over, right? How about you, Mark and Shine?
Okay, well, let's see. In terms of something that I would have to say the same thing. I don't really have anything I'd want to change about Mark. I mean, honestly, he's just an amazing person to me. And I mean, if I had to really pick one thing, just to pick one thing, I mean, maybe sometimes when I say Mark, and I feel like he doesn't hear me, but maybe that's just because I don't talk loud enough, or I don't know. But sometimes I just, maybe it's because I'm a nag, I don't know. I'm probably...
I kind of anticipate that she's going to repeat herself, so
then
sometimes I think subconsciously I may not answer.
You may wait.
Right.
Let it come around the second time.
But definitely she's gotten better, and that's probably my fault initially, because if she's nagging me, more than likely I haven't done what it is she's asked me to do, or I'm doing something else, or preoccupied. So if she's calling me again, it just reminds me, I need to be doing something, or I need to have something taken care of.
But no, there's really and that probably seems so silly, but that's really the extent of what I would say. Maybe it could be better. Just, when I call you the first time, answer. But that's it. I mean, there's nothing. He's just, he's a blessing in my life, and I really can't really think of anything.
Thank you for sharing. I didn't know, Mark, you're so perfect.
I didn't know myself. But
yeah. How about you?
I think, we've been married, this year will make 6 years, and definitely I think in the first few years of marriage, whether it be the first 2 or 3 years, in any relationship you have, some rough spots or challenges. And I would say for me, particularly, my challenge was communication. Shine's very expressive with her emotions and her feelings, or what's on her mind, and I tend to be reserved. If I'm upset, maybe I wouldn't express that, or just keep it to myself and rather let time go by. And that was one of the challenges in our marriage in the beginning. So she would express herself, or her expectation of something, but I would not reciprocate that. So she would say, well, how do you feel about that? Or, do you agree with me? Or do you understand what I'm saying? And I would kind of say, yeah, and kind of...
Because he was upset, so then he didn't really want to talk, I guess.
I didn't really want to talk, But I've learned through Shine's help, because I really couldn't have done it on my own, I found that it is better to communicate. It is better to discuss and to talk, and not take the approach of building a wall and saying, well, if she feels that way, well, I'm going to respond in this way, in a negative way. I find that really talking about it, resolving the issue, as the Bible tells us, not to let the sun go down in our anger, and that's, discussed in Proverbs. And really, that's been one of the foundations of our marriage, because the disagreements are not uncommon in marriage, but it's how I believe you deal with those disagreements and differences in a very proactive and constructive way. So Shine's really been a blessing to me, because she has that gift to really be expressive, and I've come a long way in that area, in our marriage and our relationship.
Great. Let me read something else. Success in marriage, however, requires bending and blending, the ability to remain flexible, the ability to negotiate, and the ability to give and take. Questions that couples need to ask are, how flexible am I? How cooperative am I? Am I a good negotiator? What do you think? Anything that you want to add to this?
Right. I mean, I think all those aspects are true, and I think that's what happens over time. That if in the beginning of a relationship you're not very flexible or adaptive, in order for that relationship to flourish, I think it has to be done on both sides.
Right.
And the Bible really tells us that we shouldn't be constantly pointing out the faults in other people. Rather, we should look at ourselves and ask ourselves, where can we improve? So, in our relationship, we ask that question, on a regular basis. Is there anything I could do for you? How can I be better in this area? And therefore, there's always that open communication. So we don't wait for a situation to happen, where it's an issue. We're constantly trying to get feedback from one another to see how we can improve.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there are situations, of course, that you can't plan for that happen, but that's just a way for us to try to cope in our relationship, to make sure that I'm not taking her for granted and she's not taking me for granted. So that allows for that flexibility and that adaptability that you really need in a relationship.
Great. Mm-hmm. Anything you both want to add?
Yeah, but I've found that it's true what they say about having to compromise certain things, and I think we're both pretty much easygoing in many ways. So I've had plenty of roommates, and so has he. So it really hasn't been like a huge problem to learn how to live together in most aspects.
I remember when we were dating now, and one of the things I used to get slightly frustrated at was the fact that Juliana would be refusing to talk. It'd be the other way around. And I would say, we need to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this. And things have changed, because I think it's not that I've forced her to change and talk about the situation, but it's a reciprocal behavior that we've realized we have to talk about this. We have to communicate in order to resolve the issues. And it's being in that position. And so, when we do talk about it, when we bring it before God in prayer, we find that things are resolved so much better. And it's not necessarily with our own understanding that we actually get to the result, whether, no, I'm right, no, you're right. But it's coming to that place where we can actually resolve it and listen to each other about the situation.
Mm-hmm. And kind of to follow on that note, I mean, in terms of if you want to facilitate change in your spouse, I think the key would be to discuss with that person how you can help them, maybe facilitate change in that whatever circumstance or area of their life, instead of just saying, you know what, I don't like this when you do this or whatever, and leaving it up to that person to, on their own, fix it, but asking them, how, because that's something that we do from time to time, like with, I think you guys mentioned earlier the example of time, and I'm always like late, I'm always the one running behind. So oftentimes Mark has asked me, okay, what can I do to help you, get ready faster? Do you want me to put your clothes out for you, whatever it is, so that, because he gets frustrated when we are running late, and I'm thinking, oh, I have enough time, but then truly we don't. And, he, instead of getting upset, he'll try to find a way to help me, change that behavior. And so I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think that added support within a relationship is amazing.
Yeah. Amazing
quality to have.
Yeah.
I know neither of you have children. What are you waiting for?
Well,
about you? You have been married
Yeah,
for 6 years.
We have, and actually, we actually did get pregnant last year, but I had a miscarriage into my 8th week. And so, you know, we're just waiting on the Lord, and we're praying for that, and it is our desire. So we initially did put it off because, you know, of going back to school and everything, but I think last year through prayer, it was like a realization of, you know what, we let God handle it, and, you know, in His time it'll happen. So, but that's something that's very important to us, and we definitely want.
How about you, Dave and Julian?
Well, we've only just established ourselves here in Fort Lauderdale, and I haven't actually. I'm negotiating at the moment with a firm for a position of employment.
Right.
And we felt that until we feel a bit more settled and solid, particularly in our first year of marriage, but we both would like to start a family as soon as, really.
Oh, okay, good.
There's nothing. There's nothing really delaying that, apart from those circumstances.
Yeah,
And God's timing, of course.
Which is really just something amazing too, because I never had a desire for children or for marriage. And when I met David and this all came about, I just started, I don't know, like, I think it was God that really just gave me like a vision about how it could be and how wonderful it could be. And I've had like a real desire now to have children. And so we're just waiting for the right time, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah. But I definitely want to have. I come from a big family, and it's been, you know,
a football team.
It's interesting because when Sean and I first met, we were, you know, as a young couple, you talk about some of the things you have in common, and it's very interesting. Growing up, I've always wanted to, you know, in the future adopt a child, and come to find out that, you know, the Lord had put the same idea on Shine's heart. And so we love to have our own children, and certainly, you know, with God's will, we will. But we would definitely love to adopt sometime in the future, you know, as well.
Fantastic. Wow. Actually, we are running out of time, but just one more thing. What kind of food do you eat at home? Do you people eat Colombian or British?
American.
It's a mixture. I mean, I've got to be honest, I do love cooking, but I've hardly done anything. If I were to choose my ideal type of food, I love Italian. Mediterranean type of food.
We try to eat healthy. Yeah. We're both into working out and just proper nutrition and whatnot, so we try to have always vegetables and eat spinach and, I don't know, eggs and salmon and cheese and just regular things.
It seems to be very Mediterranean, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's probably more, we have everything with olive oil. We usually have like a glass of wine. It's European, I guess, healthy.
I think a lot of that has been influenced from our time in Spain together.
How about you?
Well, for us, I mean, so far, because of school, Mark's been the cook, but and a great cook at that. And initially, actually, even when we got married, he was the main cook. But we have a little bit of all three cuisines: American, Indian, Jamaican. I mean, he loves Indian food. I love Jamaican food. I mean, there's a lot of similarities in terms of like the spicy foods and things like that. So I think food was an easy, you know, adaptation for us. But I think, and like you guys, we like pretty much try to eat healthy and eat like, you know, some sort of protein, and we eat brown rice. So things like, you know, that we would traditionally eat, but we try to put the healthy twist to it.
The biggest change for me, I would say, in eating Indian cuisine was the croutons, which are the various types of vegetables of the sides and how they're prepared. Very different and unique from all other types of cultures. But I enjoy Indian cooking because of all the spices, and as Shine said, it's similar to, you know, Jamaican cooking, and that's very flavorful, and we enjoy eating that.
Good. Maybe one of these days I'll come out to your place when she cooks some Indian food.
Certainly.
It's from a jar usually.
Well, thanks for joining me, and I really enjoyed this, and actually I learned some things from you. I've been married for a while, so this was helpful to me.